welcome to the Lou Review Podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Hart, and today I am joined by the one and only Tommy Craggs. Thank you so much for being with me today, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it is an honor. You're kind of the stuff of legend around here.
Oh my goodness.
You're one of the co-owners of Watch Hill Proper,
Yes.
which is a nationally and it's internationally kind of recognized as an insanely awesome
We're the
bourbon
largest
club.
American whiskey bar in the world. So yeah, I guess that makes us international.
I mean, people come from outside the country and
For
enjoy
sure.
it. So,
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
First, before we get into all of your backstory and everything that I love to learn about people, you have an exciting event coming up next Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Dude, this will be our third American Whiskey Fest, and it's right outside of our place, Watch Hill Proper, and so it's really cool because right outside of our door, we kind of have a built-in kind of party place. We have a fountain there, and we have a stage where musical acts can play. And so this will be our third year doing it. We've incorporated some cool stuff, like we're bringing in a wine walk this year. We usually have, any other spirit or any other beer or wine has always been off limits, but our new GM is a wine guy, and so we've made some really good relationships, and our wine list has really just gone to another level. And so we probably have 10 different wineries that'll be represented. We have about 30 or 35 distilleries. We'll have some vendors there this year, just kind of making trinkets out of, bourbon staves and that type of thing. So it seems like the natural progression of getting bigger each year. And so, we have already started, praying for no rain. So it's hard to do an outdoor event. It's going to be hot. We know that it's going to be hot, but we have been looking. It looks like there's some rain midweek, so we're doing our rain dances, and just to make.
Hey, well, you've got biblical precedent for that. If Jesus wanted the party to go on and enough to make some wine, I think he could arrange
Well,
some rain
well, I'll
situations.
take all the help I can get, and he's certainly a good one to have on our side for sure.
you
So,
know, right? So let's kind of set the stage a little bit for anyone who doesn't know what Watch Hill Proper is. It's kind of an exclusive bourbon club in Norton Commons, which is a very nice neighborhood. And would you say you're located kind of at the corner of the town square area of Norton Commons?
so
What would
we
that
are
area be with the fountain?
So Norton Commons is split into the South Village and the North Village. The South Village has been built out for several years. The North Village, I'm guesstimating, is probably about 70% built out. There's lots of construction, lots of new houses and businesses that are going up. We were, pretty well the first business, the first turnkey that opened up in here. We set We're encompassed by 273 apartments. It's called the Lyric, and so we're on the base floor. We sit next to a small little brewery. We sit by in the same complex as a yoga facility and Quill's Coffee. So it's there's always there's always construction vehicles here right now, but the fountain and stuff outside of right where we're at really makes it kind of conducive for this party. And there's a vacant lot that we've been fortunate enough that hasn't been built on yet, and this will be our third year of using it. And that's where the distilleries that kind of set up their tents, and we have 10 by 20, 20 by 20 tents, and and then you start pouring at from 4 to 10. I would recommend having an Uber on speed dial because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I didn't get to go in the past years, but
Yeah.
I remember when Watch Hill Proper opened. I came to the opening and it was gorgeous, but like you said, it was really like kind of a standalone thing away from the
Yeah.
neighborhood because the rest hadn't been built out yet. And I had Chef Michael Crouch on the podcast a few weeks ago talking about from his perspective coming
Yeah.
in and bringing the food and
Sure.
how initially it was more of a kind of a snack to go along with the bourbon, and now that's really expanded, and he's been able to bring a lot more heft to the
Have you been
menu.
back since then?
Yeah, yeah. I love how you asked me that. I brought a prop as
Well,
a
that's right.
souvenir
I knew
from
that
my
you had
last
been back there
visit.
because I talked to you. Yeah, that's right.
That's why we're talking now. But
Lily Mae, of course.
yeah, yes, you convinced me to get this Lily May,
That's right. That's
and
right.
it is so good. Look, I've only had a very small amount because a little goes a long way, and I'm a lightweight. But also, it was so good. It's gonna be special. It's not gonna be mixed with anything. I'm gonna
Good. I'm
treasure.
glad to hear that you're drinking it neat, as the way that's
Yes,
the way it should be.
yes,
I say
exactly.
that halfway jokingly. You can drink it however you want, but I love that. I love to see women drinking bourbon neat. I just think it's a whole, it's been, had the connotation of such a grandpa drink
Yeah,
forever. And then,
yeah.
when you see, women drinking it at, just neat, or even with one rock, like one cube in there, it's like that's just a cool look to me. And we see it a lot in Watch Hill. I mean, we certainly have a lot of bourbon guys in there, and that's cool. We appreciate each and every one of them, but it's very cool to see that, that wine glass that's on the table doesn't necessarily mean it's for the woman sitting at that table. There's a rocks glass with bourbon in it, and it's cool. That's what it was all about. It was kind of, getting it out there to the mass, and showing that it's not just that old man kind of grandpa drink. That there's so many different flavors, like the one that you're drinking there.
Hmm.
It's such a good gateway for folks that don't know if they like bourbon yet.
Hmm.
That Lily May is just, I mean, it's 80 proof. It drinks very easy. You're not going to get a whole lot of Kentucky hug. It's not going to burn you up, but it's a good gateway to move on to, other expressions of bourbon. So it's cool. I'm glad to see that you're drinking it.
Yeah, it's probably the only one I like neat besides Green River.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I
We
have
have, we
not
carry a ton
tried.
of Green River for sure.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Um, I tried adding a drop of water to Green River on their distillery tour, and I was like, that was a mistake. I'm
Yeah.
never doing that again. It opened up things that were all wrong for me. So I'm like, neat is how it is. This one is
I
like I
would
have
agree.
it
I would agree with
designated
you on
in
that.
my bourbon barrel. I have a bourbon barrel cabinet where I keep them all,
Oh, cool.
and this is the do not even mix with ice. Okay, this so
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
yeah. So I would love to get to know you better, Tommy. I always see you surrounded by hordes of people. So what is your backstory? Like, are you from Louisville?
Born and raised from, so where Watch Hill sits. Watch Hill actually, the zip is actually Prospect, which is just on the outskirts of Louisville. I'm born and raised from where Watch Hill sits my whole life, with really within 10 square miles. I'm born and raised there. Yeah, I've never left Louisville. I'm born and raised here. I graduated at Odom County, which is just outside of Jefferson County. So
But
yeah.
like, but Norton Commons didn't buy your family farm to build Norton
Oh
Commons, right?
no, 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 no. I remember when when there was nothing here. I was riding dirt bikes on this property years and years ago. So yeah, born and raised here. I was in, have kind of been in the bourbon industry for a long time, in some capacity. Liquor store, a bartended for years. Kind of honing my craft, reading and writing everything I could about bourbon. Then, and then I went to Heaven Hill, and I tell people all the time I would still be at Heaven Hill. I love that they treated me so well, that I didn't want to leave, and I knew what I was building, and I would tell Josh. I mean, Josh is my partner. It's just Josh and I that own Watch Hill, and
Hmm.
he runs a full business. I mean, he has an engineering firm here. He has another brick and mortar in another state. He's got Salesforce kind of throughout the United States, and I was there and kind of watching Watch Hill being built, and I still stuck with Heaven Hill until it got to the point where I had to quit. But I still go down there and see those guys all the time, and they look at me like, "Didn't you leave? Are you?" So, but I love them. They preach. The Shapiro family preaches family. They say it all the time. And we have meetings. We have these seminars. They preach family, 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 and they hold true to that. During COVID, I was there during COVID. No, nobody missed a paycheck. And they allowed you, if you did not feel comfortable being in the workplace, you stayed home. And so we whether it be hourly, salary, management, whoever, we sat and we made hand sanitizer and gave it all away.
I remember that. I remember that being on the news. Thank you for doing that.
So that's the kind of you're not going to hear me say a bad word. I mean, I love this industry. I love all the heritage distilleries. I love the craft distilleries, but my heart is still it's with Heaven Hill because they treated me as good as I could have ever hoped for.
So
Yeah, they're great folks.
that's amazing. And so when you caught the vision for Watch Hill proper, what was that vision
So
that you and Josh teamed up on?
Josh and I were bleacher dads, and we watched our kids play baseball. And so, he knew that I was in the industry, and he would bring some of his engineering folks that may be in from out of town. He would bring them down to Heaven Hill, and I may give them a kind of a behind the scenes tour or whatever stuff that the general public didn't see all the time. And so, we just started talking about bourbon, and he kind of had that itch where, he wanted to find an avenue if there was an avenue. And so he said, has there ever been, an idea that kind of has come across that you just never pursued? And there was a couple. And so we talked about different things. And the initial idea for, it was called Proper then. We were going to buy a house, and there were so many social media groups out there. They're everywhere. But they don't have brick and mortars. And so what we were going to do is we were going to buy a house and gut it and make it very bourbon-centric to where these groups could rent it out for tastings and, get-togethers, bottle shares, that type of thing. We went and looked at one house. That idea lasted about 12 minutes. We were about 3 miles from Norton Commons. We turned into Norton Commons. We were just kind of driving through. And a girl walked in front of kind of our vehicle when we were turning down River Beauty, and what is now Watch Hill and the other stores located there was just a shell. And so we said, what do you know about this building? And she said, I know everything about the building. I'm the agent on it. And so we got out and we talked to her and we kind of told her what we were thinking that we wanted to do. And she took it to the powers that be in her organization. They wanted nothing to do with it. They thought it was a goofy idea. They were like, what do you mean you're going to open up a bar with no beer? How the hell can that be?
A bar with no beer, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
What year was this?
that and no vodka, no tequila. So, because our tagline from the start has been nothing foreign, nothing clear, and no beer. So, no Irish whiskey shots, none of that. So they didn't really like it. And, a long story short on this is that Josh and I had been working on a business plan. Josh wrote the business plan, the final leg of it, the final version of it, and submitted it to who it needed to be submitted to, and basically called Josh and said, this is the best business plan that I've ever read. I've been developing property for 50 years, and I've never read one this thorough, this precise. He said, I'll give you half an hour. We had a meeting, a Zoom meeting then, and he still didn't care the idea. He thought the idea was silly, to be honest. And he said, but I will give you a chance. And so the rest is history. I mean, there was probably 10 times to where we were this close to it not happening. Oh, maybe more than 10. There was a
Because
lot.
when you walk into that place, it just feels like it was meant to be. And like it was, like, I don't know, I feel like there's so much depth to it. Like, you
Yeah,
put
well,
so much love and thought and intention into it.
if
I
you
can't even imagine anyone
if you would
thinking
have,
that
I
was a
say
silly
this all the
idea.
time. I know Josh and the guys who are around me all the time because they hear me say this a lot. But if you would have asked Josh and I if what we have at Watch Hill is what we thought we were going to get, absolutely not. It's
Okay,
way more grandiose.
it
It's
is.
way
Grant.
so. But it got to the point to where we got here. Well, we might as well go here. We're already here. We might as well. And so we had a designer who she yelled at us nonstop because we had this vision of everything had to be extreme, had to be oversized leather couches and chairs and everything and these colors. And she would say, we're not putting that in there. And then we would go, oh yeah, we are. And so she would yell at us, and we would get our way most of the time, and sometimes she would get her way. And she was instrumental. She did a lot of good stuff for us. I mean, when you walk into Watch Hill, all the rock, that rock wall there, that was all her idea. I mean, it's beautiful when you walk in. It captures you as you kind of get in, and then when you walk in and see the wall. And that was the point. When we were doing the wall, we knew that we wanted to have this wall, and we knew that we wanted to have the barrels. It needed to be like the first time that you see the ocean. It was kind of like, oh, oh, there it is.
Or if you're walking into the Beauty and the Beast library, that's kind of what it was for me.
Is
It was
that right?
like if the Beauty and the Beast library was full of bourbon.
Yeah, yeah. And that's once we got there, once we were like, okay, we're all in. That we knew that it needed to be unlike anything that anybody had seen in the country. And before we did it, before we kind of started putting the final, details together, we kind of flew. Josh flies all the time. I'm not a great flyer, but I did go, and so we would go. We went to Portland, Oregon, where the Multnomah Whiskey Library is, and we stole. Ed's become a good friend of ours, and he walked in after we had opened because I had told him we blatantly stole a lot of his ideas. I mean, I would call him and go, "Yeah, we stole that idea." And
I
so when
mean,
it was so funny the first
yeah.
time that he came here, he looked around, he was like, "Wow, you really did steal," because he's got the
It's
leather and
nice.
the it just because
Imitation is the highest form of flattery,
yeah,
so.
his place is so cool. If you ever get a chance to go to Multnomah Whiskey Library, it's unbelievable. And so we went to a couple other places and kind of gathered ideas. But the one thing that we did find out when we went all around is that nobody had done what we were doing. It didn't exist. I mean, Multnomah Whiskey Library is a lot smaller place. Nobody had taken it to this level, and certainly nobody had done it with just American whiskey. Multnomah Whiskey Library has Scotch, they have Irish whiskey, they make drinks. We were going to have very skilled people. They blow me away all the time. We've had two or three beers on our menu that aren't made. They're not made with hops. They're made with whiskey, and you taste it and you go, that is a delicious porter. Or the one on there now is an IPA, and it's like, what? It blows you away that they're this creative. Our bar team is second to none. Our serving staff. I always forget to mention how blessed we are to have these really good people. Bev Reese is our marketing director. She was our first hire. She's been with us from the very start. And when our when our office was Zeggs in the morning and, Muscle Burger Barks, we didn't have anywhere to have meetings. And then we got Chef Michael Crouch, and that's when it got real, to be honest. I mean,
Really?
I think so. I can equate it to a couple different things. Carla Green is our mixologist. Carla's not, she doesn't work with us anymore. We knew that we would have her for a year and a half or so, and it just kind of wasn't her thing. She's gone doing bigger and better things. She's the most creative, as far as thinking outside the box when it comes to mixology and that type of thing. She's very creative. She left it in the hands of Tom Wilburn, who just kind of took it and has
Oh,
run with it. Yeah,
yes. Yes.
Tom's
Love
he's
Tom.
just crazy
Shout
talented.
out to Tom Wilburn right now.
Absolutely.
He was our server when I was there for the opening,
Yeah.
and like he was so educational and like welcoming, and definitely I think part of why I loved Watch Hill proper was because of his hospitality, but
Yeah.
also he really knows his stuff too.
He does. Him and Dan is his sidekick there, and so, and then getting Chef. I mean, it's so funny when I talk about Chef and how it was a shell. Tim Laird has a TV show on cooking show, and he had called and he said, "Look, I know you guys are doing this thing." He goes, "Michael Crouch might be interested in talking to you." My first reaction was like, Michael Crouch is not going to talk to us. We're this little, we're this little bitty place. We're thinking about even being a warming kitchen or whatever. And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I hear that, he might be interested. So come about. We sat down, me and Michael. But one of the best thing about the whole interview is there was no doors or windows in the place yet. And so Michael comes walking up. I meet him at what is now the front door. There just wasn't any front door then. And I said, man, I've been a big fan of your food forever. And he was like, as well, you should have been. That was the very first words, and he's that. I said, "Oh, your reputation is exactly what I heard it was." And so but he's that. When you're that good, I don't blame him. He's other level when it
Yeah.
comes to
I
cooking.
mean, it's okay to be confident when you, I mean, have
He
reason
is.
to be.
His flavors are just, yeah. It's just like, you know. So that's the thing. I mean,
You got
you
the
just
right
keep.
guy, and he loves bourbon so
He
much.
does.
He's
He loves
so
to
happy
cook
to
and he
be
loves
there.
bourbon, and so it's it's talented people. Josh and I just were like, we're going to get it together. We're going to have this idea that we're both so passionate about, and then we're going to hire really good people to make sure that it comes about because it wasn't us. I mean, it was us, but it's not us now. I mean, we have other things. Josh is beyond crazy at his other job. I have my niche now. My son, his finance degree from Indiana got him a working for dad in floor managing, and then we ended up with Chris Ballou as our general manager. And Chris has been just he has been as good a hire as any of the big ones that we've had. I mean, he just thinks differently. He was 12 years at Jeff Ruby's. He was 8 years at Hall's Chop House. He knows service like no one that I've ever been around. He knows how it's. I know how it's supposed to look. I know what good service looks and feels like. He can bring it out of servers. He can get the best out of them, and so it's been cool. I mean, I'm so blessed to have what we have at the staff wise.
You are. And I was just listening to a book, what was it? Unreasonable Hospitality. And they said that the difference between service and hospitality is service is black and white. You get your food right and you get it out on time and you get everything done as it should be. But then hospitality is the color and it's how you make people feel
Is
and
that the
what you
Danny
make.
Meyer book?
Maybe. I just saw it and started listening to
I've
it.
read some of his
Yeah.
hospitality. His books are crazy good. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome
And I think that really encapsulates it. It's like you've got the black and white lines and then you've got the color that makes it vibrant too. So
for
it's
sure.
a
For
whole
sure.
package
Yeah,
for sure.
it's cool. Just we're 3.5 years in, and we're just getting our legs to us to where we're ready to look and see what's coming next, and we just keep trying to push it and push it and push it, and that's why we do these festivals and stuff, and just we want to be known as that company who does a lot of really cool events and has cool things that we do. We do tastings all the times and we do dinners all the time. Michael does 8 or 10 dinners a year that people just come from everywhere. He just did a caviar.
Caviar?
Yeah.
Caviar and champagne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had never had caviar. I did actually sit in on that one, and I don't think I'd ever had it. I may have had it once, and it's just a different. I mean, the pairings that he did was just crazy. They were so good.
Yeah.
They're so
I mean,
good.
if you don't like caviar, if you don't like anything, you just need to let Michael make it for you and
That's
then
true. I
it'll
would.
be
That
fine.
is a very true statement because yes, and my
Yes.
wife is a perfect testament to this because she does not. She has never liked Brussels sprouts, and she went some out of town and they made these Brussels sprouts a certain way, and the only thing that she could come back and tell Michael was, "I know that this was in there, this was in there," and so he started formulating and he reinvented these Brussels sprouts that she had out of town. She travels for work, and so they're always eating somewhere. So now it's crazy. But
Hey,
that's Michael in a nutshell. I mean, he
for
can do
sure.
whatever.
Much respect. When you can make vegetables delectable, you have my respect, for sure.
And he can do it. He absolutely can do it. He does crazy stuff with seafood. It's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I did give him his own episode already, so I
Well,
guess we can
he's deserving.
contain. Yeah, he deserves it. But so as far as what sets Watcho Proper apart, before we started recording, you were telling me about the advocacy work that you guys had to do, lobbying for laws that would make your concept possible. Can you tell us some more about that?
So this started actually when I was at Heaven Hill, this vintage spirit law, and there was some other stuff that was kind of in the works. they were trying to make it a little easier to find these very unique bottles that they knew existed in Kentucky. They were trying to, help out the ad valorem taxes on distillers. Distillers pay an enormous amount of taxes. The rough estimate is that if you see a bottle in a store, let's just use say you see a $20 bottle of bourbon, a $20 bottle, the taxes on that would be about $12. So there's a lot of taxation on that. And so they were trying to get that. They were working on this vintage spirit law, and it wasn't Bashir. I can't remember the governor that he was very adamant about it. It might have been Bevan, who was very adamant about wanting to get these bottles out of the cellars and the attics. And he's like, they're in the attics of your grandparents. You never know what could be up there, and so people started finding it, and bringing them.
Went looking for it because the governor told them to.
Well, yeah, because it was the very first time that a non-licensed person could sell a bottle to a licensed person. It used to have to be licensed, had to sell the license, and so, he made it legal. And so you had these bottles from their great great grandparents that were drawing these crazy amounts of money could now be sold. And so what that did for us, Josh and I had big collections, both of us. His was actually bigger than mine. But I mean, so when we started, we had a good head start, but we still needed stuff. And so we made sure that we follow. You got to follow it to the letter of the law. That you're allowed certain bottles per year, and so you do all the paperwork, you send it in, and they allow you to do this. And it is, we've had some interest in it from other states. The vintage law doesn't exist in those states as of yet. Miami's come calling a little bit, in Nashville, and so we've had some interest, but I don't know how you would exactly do it. I guess you could figure it out if you had a really good lobbyist and they could get some of these laws and the rules of whether the city would change it. I don't know. But
Or if you have a governor who goes on TV repeatedly and says, "Hey, you got any bottles of whiskey that you want to make thousands of dollars off
that's true.
of?"
Now,
And then it comes out of the woodwork.
now I don't know how prominent that would be in Florida. We are in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Everybody has bourbon.
But Tennessee,
Tennessee,
I mean,
yeah,
you'll be able
Nashville.
to find some stuff.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. We are certainly not putting the no stamp on it. We just don't know yet. It could be something that we start looking into and get very curious about it. If it looked like there was something that could be done, or we had some powerful people in those states that wanted to partner up with us and thought that they could get some stuff through their Congress or their state. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would be interested. We'll talk to whoever. If it makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, but in order to have like a collection of really rare bottles and things like that, a law like that would have to be active in a state that wanted to create their own bourbon.
I would think. I don't know what the law would be like if you were a business in Florida. I don't know if you could have specific buyers here in Kentucky or Tennessee, and that's all they did was use the vintage spirit law and then take those to Florida. I don't think that would fly. I bet there's something they're like, we're not letting that.
State lines
they're not letting that tax dollar leave. So I don't know. That's why I don't think that I think it would have to be that specific state that would allow that law to be enacted. I don't know. I don't know the legalities. It hasn't been really close enough to come about for us to really dive into it. We have
maybe you'll have an attorney who wants to get invested.
Yeah, maybe, and that's probably what it would take is somebody that legalese is not my thing. I know. We need to stay and walk the straight and narrow, and
yes.
And we do that with when we use the vintage spirit law. You got to make sure your paperwork's being turned in and all that because they're nice enough to give us that privilege to be able to do it. We want to make sure we're towing the line for sure.
That sounds wise. That way, if someone's listening to this interview several years from now, you'll still be here.
Absolutely. There you go. Hopefully.
That's right. Well, I am so looking forward to the festival next Saturday. If you're listening to this episode before August 16th of 2020, be sure you get a ticket and come out to Norton Commons in front of Watch Hill proper for the American Whiskey Festival. If you are listening in the future, maybe it'll be year 10. I don't know. This is
Maybe,
the
yeah.
third year, right?
Yeah, this is the year 3, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Tommy, if someone wants to check out Watch Hill proper, we talked about where it's located. You have a website too, right?
Yeah, it's really user friendly. www.watchhillproper.com. It tells, anything from events and to our bottle count, our most recent bottle count, which I believe now is a little over 2,300 unique expressions. And so there's always something going on there.
Well, and we didn't even talk about your membership, like the monthly bourbon
Yeah,
club and stuff.
we do. Our membership now, the one that's become very popular is we have a bottle club.
Hmm.
And so you can join our bottle club, and we are now signed with a company that is going to be able to get us in like 40 other states. So we
Nice.
can't do it. Kentucky doesn't really allow shipping, and there's a lot of regs that go along with that. But
Hmm.
this company can. So
Okay.
and we have a designated area on that website that talks about our bottle club. It's one of the best deals in as far as concerning what we're doing because it's a subscription, but it's basically one bottle, and the parameters are about $60 to $90 a month. But it's a lot of one-off whiskeys. It's a lot of stuff that you can't find anywhere else, and you can use it for wine. Like I said, our GM is really ingrained in the wine world. He knows a lot of people there. He strikes these crazy cool wine deals. And so we put it on the site, and it can be so the bottle club can either be a wine or a whiskey. And so it's been a really good success. We have a once a month on the first Wednesday of the month. We have a bottle pickup party. We had it, I guess, 3 days ago. There's about 125 people there. It's crazy,
Hmm. See, that's
crazy.
what I mean is I saw you at one of those pickup parties and you're surrounded by people. So I
Yeah, for
might as well
sure,
talk
for
now.
sure. Yeah, that's yeah, and then the regular membership, it's explained a lot better.
Yeah.
Hey, Isha, will you grab a little power cord? I had to
Are
have
you
my
about to?
wife. My computer just kind of went dim. I'm like, oh my
Whoops.
goodness, I'm getting
Okay.
ready to.
Well, I'll
No,
wrap it up, but that's
she,
fine.
yeah, she'll grab my power cord real quick. But the other membership, like I say, it explains it a lot easier than or better than I do. If you get on there, it kind of tells the details. There's tiered memberships and all kind of stuff.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, thank you for taking the time, Tommy. And then, if you enjoyed listening to this episode of the Lou Review podcast, make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening, if it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Audible. And then, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to like and leave me a comment. Let me know if you learned something or if you know of another Kentuckian who needs to be spotlighted for the amazing contribution that they are making to making Louisville a great place to live and work and enjoy life. And I'll see you in the next episode.